What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my tattoo journey video series where I talk about my process in finding the Taknapat na Alon, mark of the four-wave tribe, and begin my journey finding my Filipino traditional tattoo designs and embarking the patterns and motifs of my family's background, history, and ancestors. In last week's video, we talked about my my phase of going from dedicating the designs to my mom and dad and our ancestors to now using the markings and the motifs in a more healing way for guidance, strength, protection, depending on what it is I'm going through. So with that said, if you aren't from the Philippines or if you're not from the islands at all, but there's something that draws you to wanting to get a tribal tattoo, a traditional tribal tattoo, that may be a way or route you go about, because then you can do it in a very respectful way instead of pulling a design that you found on the internet and asking your tattoo artist to copy it. Because if you've seen the other videos, you will realize that one, it's a very intense and thought out process, and two, you are literally stealing somebody's family heritage and soul. So, all that to say, in this video, we're going to be talking about my chest piece and moving from last week's shaman of transformation that I talked about, my Linglingo, and the trip I took with the Four Waves tribe to Tahiti and what that meant for me and what that symbolized for me, because that is where I got my first tapped tattoo. All right, all that said, so as we talked about in last week's video, I wanted to get the shaman of transformation on my chest because I was in the process of going through my second divorce. What that means for me, I mean, I'm sure everyone who has been through a divorce may know what it feels like, and everyone has their own, story. But I got married back in 2012 to a man that I met in Afghanistan. And if any one of you actually know me, I'm very much a free spirit and follow my heart type of person. And the way that we met and the way that I felt, I just knew I had to be with him, and I wanted to be with him no matter what that entailed. And in this case, it meant that I would put to rest my Army career, and pick up and leave Hawaii, where I was stationed at Coleman Barracks, and move to Virginia Beach, where I knew absolutely no one except him. And I was totally fine with that. I was totally happy to do that. I didn't even think about the breadth of what that actually meant to me, or, what I was giving up, because I was doing it for us. So I got out of the Army in 2013, left Hawaii, moved to Virginia Beach, became a full-time student, and started pursuing a fine arts degree in painting. So not only did I pick up and leave my previous life and career and path that I knew and was familiar with for the last 10 years being in the Army, I decided to pursue a completely different route, because I felt that what happened in Afghanistan inspired me to do so. So I'm not afraid to kind of take risks, and I did all of those risks all at one time, kind of like pulling off a humongous Band-Aid. So now I'm a wife, a dependent, a college student, all in one freaking swoop. So the shaman of transformation does not, yes, it symbolizes my divorce, but it symbolizes closing that chapter of everything that I had to go through or went through those years of my life. All right. So between that time that I got the Linglio and I went to Tahiti, I saw Zell again. I can't remember the date that was, but to fill in the upper portion of my tattoo. And I will talk about her in more detail when I'm ready, but a lot of these designs are pulled from my niece Raquel's tattoo, because obviously we have the same family. My parents are her grandparents, and we are connected in such a strong way. And yeah, she is a huge part of my life. Anyway, sorry. Moving on from that, I was excited to go on this trip with the Dakna Patnaalan, or the Four Waves, Mark of the Four Waves tribe, because it would be my first one. I have been in this tribe since 2004, 2005, and I still had yet to hop on a trip with the rest of the members. And on this trip, it was super special because we got to represent the island of the Philippines at the very first tattoo festival in Moorea. What was so cool about this tattoo festival was that there were representatives, tattoo artists from a bunch of different Polynesian islands. I remember seeing New Zealand, Borneo, Cook Islands, Tahiti, of course, Samoa, Hawaii, and many others. And I'm sorry if I missed you, but there was so many different booths, so many representatives of Polynesian tattoo artists from across the globe there. But when I went to this tattoo festival / trip with the tribe members, I honestly didn't think of getting a tattoo, because I didn't want to have to go through that healing process of like staying out of the sun, staying out of the water. You know, I really wanted to enjoy all the activities that Moorea had to offer. And so it wasn't until like, I don't know, the second to last day of the festival that I had really thought about it, and was like, if I was going to get a tapped tattoo, this would be the place. This is the time, and I'm with my tribe family, so why not? And so I, as cheesy as it may sound, because I had finally put to rest, or was in the process of putting to rest, that previous chapter, I wanted a symbol that represented love. In every which way, right? Not just romantically, but between friendships as well. So I asked some of the tribe members if we did have in our Filipino markings a symbol for that, and there wasn't one specific for love. We had like family or community, but not love. So on the hunt I go, down each of the booths and talking to tattoo artists from different islands. I think I questioned or chatted up 3 or 4 different islands before I landed at the Taiwan booth and met Kujoy Wang, a legend in the revival of Taiwanese tattooing, Taiwan tattooing. And so I had to speak to his translator, who let me know that, I don't want to say they had a book of flash, but like book of traditional markings from Taiwan, and there was a row of symbols that represented love. And I had my eye set on one in particular that I wanted to get on my sternum, but I was open and willing to let him pick what he wanted to put on my body. So he picked it, and we, did the consultation a little bit where, he was trying to ask me to fill the triangles in with dot work. I think that's more of a signature style, more contemporary, but I wanted to keep my markings traditional. And so we agreed that it would either be filled in all black or outlined only, because if you think about how the traditional tappings were done back in the day, there are no gradients. So we came to an agreement and all was good, and finally decided to start the process. The sternum isn't too bad. I think because he was so fast, it helped that not even the pain, but the experience go by without regretting having this part be my first one. And then I think not that day, but like before the festival ended, I ended up finding these Ponamu jade triangles that I was like, oh, well, fuck, if the universe is speaking, I need to listen to her because she is trying to tell me something, and it's paid off so far. I've been listening to her. Anyway, left Tahiti and finally got back to Texas and realized once I got back to my apartment, I was laying everything down. I had this thing hanging literally the whole time that I've been in Texas. And I never knew what it meant, obviously, because, I mean, it's just a symbol, or I thought it was just a symbol. But if you look at my tattoo, how freaking crazy is that? I was in shock to see that I had been drawn to this symbol before I got this. And this wasn't the one that I personally picked out for Kajoy to do, but he picked it for me. So again, the universe has a weird way of speaking to you. As long as you're ready to hear it, it will guide you the right way. And eventually I ended up seeing Zell again to finish out or round out my chest piece, which I'm super happy about. So this symbol isn't floating on its own. And we worked on my forearms as well, which I'll talk about in my next tattoo. So the last of the tattoos I have left are these ones right here on my forearms, and the one on my pelvis that definitely signifies a closing of another chapter and the opening of another. And I can't wait to talk about it because it's alive and well now and what I am going through right this second. And because it's so fresh, I'm excited to share with you guys, and hopefully these videos have been informative or helpful to you. Hopefully you've gained some knowledge in either our Filipino history background of tattooing and or been inspired to start your own spiritual journey through tattooing. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Like and share if this has been helpful for you. And you may feel like it would be helpful to somebody else that's interested in starting their journey. But with all that said, that's all I got. Thanks, guys.